Fully automated cars won't be a thing until the government sets in to lay the groundwork for a nationwide system. Yep, Jay Thompson is 100% right. So a level 5 autonomous vehicle might be impossible, or it could be so far out. Okay, so a level 5 autonomous vehicle, to explain what that means, is it's a fully drivable car without any human input. The best example of this would be there's a scene from Detroit Become Human. I think this is my favorite example of how this should go. Okay, so this scene, just watch this, where it's this is an automated roadway, right? But the keyword about this is that there are no human-driven cars on this roadway. And if we are going to do self-driving cars in any realistic amount of time, this is the thing that needs to happen. So there has to be automated roadways, because if you have humans driving cars on the same roads as self-driving cars, you can't do it, because you would need a level 5 autonomous vehicle to do that, which means it's a vehicle that can drive like a human. And there was a really good video. If you want to watch a super good thing about this, Joe Rogan just did a podcast with Lex Friedman, who is on one of the forefronts of autonomous vehicle AI. And Lex basically confirms this, that there is no real way to make level 5 cars. The only way that we can do it is if the government sets up these roadways and makes it only but the amount of legislation and bureaucracy and time that's going to take is actually insane. Wait, why? Because a intelligent car has to make so many decisions, right? Here's a really classic problem that a intelligent car may have to come up with is let's say that I'm walking in an intersection and then I stop to check my phone. Okay, so I stand in the middle of the intersection and I just check my phone. So there is that's a really dumb thing to do, right? But people do it all the time. So for a human being, there's enough going on in my brain where I see a person stop and I'm like, God damn it. And I slam on the brakes and I'm like, fucking idiot. Ah! And he's like, fuck you. And then that's the end of that interaction, but nobody died. Okay. But for a car to do that, and for a car to be oh, my human stopped in the middle of the road, that is a really, really hard thing to figure out, because human beings should cross the road. And that's just one example of how you can screw with an automated system. But there are literally a million examples of this. And so the way that we are building level 5 autonomous cars right now is we are programming individual input decisions into them. So it's okay, if the road is icy and the sun is glaring into the left camera, and there's 2 kids crossing the road, and one of them stops to pick something up, but you can't see that on the left camera, can the car intelligently make a decision to swerve or stop? And if it does stop, is it going to stop on the ice enough that it still slows down and decelerates to not hit the kids? Or is a swerve a better decision? See, these are very complicated issues, because there's no such thing as a true AI. So artificial intelligence doesn't ever refer to artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is always a thing called machine learning. So machine learning means that we give imagine a box it's just a black box that contains data, okay? And there's a couple of different ways to do this. One is to set up a judge and a teacher. So there's a teacher robot that teaches the judge, and the judge judges if it's right or wrong, and then it outputs. That's one way to do it. But either way it's done, you have a box of data. And when information comes into the black box, it sort of tries to evolve what it thinks is correct based on its knowledge of what was previously correct. Okay, so this is really, really complicated shit, and I'm not the right person to explain this. But we do ML at Nerd Fusion, so I know a bit about this. So the way that ML works is what gets us search algorithms and things like that. But that's not true artificial intelligence at all. True artificial intelligence, we haven't made any progress on it in 40 years. Any person that is any artificial intelligence expert will tell you that we haven't made any progress on artificial intelligence in 30, 40 years because it literally concerns the birth of consciousness. It is the idea that a computer is able to say I am and then make independent decisions without any prior data or a priori knowledge. That's a really insane concept, right? We don't understand anything about consciousness from a neurological standpoint. We can't find it. We can't understand it. We can't define it. The idea that gives us self-awareness is something that is really, really arcane and is still like a really weird field, and nobody's really made any progress on it. So machine learning is we've made a ton of progress on machine learning, right? Machine learning as defined by like getting better at algorithms, getting machines to understand and make decisions better. And it's conceivable that you could go onto Google, right, at some point, and you could type it any question you can imagine, which is like, what should I eat for dinner tonight? Or what type of girl should I date? And it will give you a completely accurate to a 99.9% degree answer. And we can imagine that within 5 years or 10 years, that will actually be a thing. But that is not artificial intelligence. That's machine learning. Machine learning can do some really amazing things, but it's not AI. So the only way that we can actually build a system that would actually work for this is we would have to build car lanes that don't have any human drivers, if that makes sense. AI has become a buzzword synonymous with machine learning, kind of. Yeah, when they're really two very different things. What Knights is saying is completely correct, however. We could be making progress towards AI and not know it. That's super true. So the way that one theory on AI is that AI is not AI until it is. So there could just be, it's called a it starts with an S. It's a word that means AI just becomes AI. But I can't remember it's a singularity. Yeah, thank you. So the singularity is an idea that it's like there's an event in time where AI just, it's on and it works out. And now it's starting to make decisions for itself and it's doing things. And it's possible that we could be moving towards that and not know it. But like we're unable to actually to know or not. So isn't singularity is like the moment that I could be wrong on this one. New icon slap. Thanks, Trom. What happens when we build an ML system that can meet or exceed a human's knowledge or comprehension? I mean, we've already done that. Like that, YouTube is that. Wouldn't we consider that AI? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know enough about the subject to know that. For as far as I'm concerned, AI is the birth of individual consciousness. A machine that can make decisions for itself without a prior input. And ML is better decision making with prior input, if that makes sense. And that difference defines AI and ML. ML might reach a point where we can't distinguish it from AI. But I don't know enough about it. You'd have to ask somebody that's like really in the field. Just from everything that I've listened to and heard, it's a really that's like the state of the problem. This is a super complicated issue. We've been at Nerd Fusion, we've been using ML to learn about how people interact with Twitch streams. So what we do is we have two different ways of interpreting. We can feed data to machine learning that has two different ways of interpreting data. The first is through Twitch chat, and the second is through video and audio recognition. So I guess it's three ways, right? So we can do OCR, where we can monitor what people say on a stream, and then we can tie that to certain things. And then we can also do a video to some extent, though much less. And then Twitch chat we have like down. We can do that really well. So if you, here's an example of how that would work, right? Let's say that you are let's say that we as a channel are really interested in talking about pepperoni pizza. You know, and we can read that because there are a bunch of types of comments about pepperoni pizza like every day. Like, oh, like, or let's take a more realistic example for this channel. Let's say green tea, right? Green tea comes up a lot on this channel. I would venture to say, I haven't run the numbers on this, but I can venture to say that green tea comes up on this channel a lot, right? Maybe more than any other channel on Twitch, because it's kind of a weird thing. Green tea is like a really weird thing, right? There aren't a lot of people that drink green tea on Twitch. It's not really like a gamer thing. It's just like one of my things. So I talk about green tea a lot. So an ML system that reads Twitch chat is able to mark the words, the number of words that show up related to green tea. And then we're able to cross-reference that against all of the ML that we do across all Twitch channels. I think we monitor all channels that are above 50 viewers. And then we can say, okay, on DevinNash's channel, it's like the green tea concept comes up 75% more than anywhere else. Well, maybe that's relevant to like a green tea company or to some kind of brand. And now you can see like why we're doing that. That's ML basically, at least in the context of like what we're doing with it. And ML is really exciting, but it's not AI. It's not AI by any means. It's not even ML really. Yeah, it's like kind of like a lower form of ML. True ML is like YouTube type stuff. Cross-reference this dragon dildo. Dude, I guarantee we're not gonna reach the #1 category for dragon dildo talk compared to like Greek God X and all the other Twitch streamers. Yeah, so Knights has a good explanation. AGI, artificial general intelligence, and considering stage 2 of intelligence, refers to a computer that's as smart as a human across the board, a machine that can perform any intellectual task that a human being can. Creating AGI is a much harder task than creating ANI, artificial narrow intelligence. Yeah, that's 100% right, as far as I understand it. Artificial general intelligence is a super hard problem and maybe an impossible problem. Do you agree that AI statistically makes better decisions than humans driving? I don't know. That's a really good question. If I answer that question, I can't answer that question. I'm not sure. I just don't have the data. Someone has the data, though. It's possible. I think the problem we're running into right now is that whenever the AI makes a mistake, it's like a national news story. I'm out of time. So thank you very much, and I will see you guys again.
Walk, little walk, small talk, big thoughts. Gonna tell them all just what I want. That street, 2 streets, I see you and me hanging on the empty swings.